if this is something that you are passionate about and you want to do it, one, you're going to have to get better to survive. I think we've said that for a few years. And two, you'll truly have to work harder. For less food on your table this year.
At the beginning of the year, I dropped some unfortunate news for real estate agents, real estate brokers, mortgage brokers, appraisers, pretty much anybody involved in the real estate business. I let you know, unfortunately, that 2025 is going to be worse than 2024. And it was going to be the worst year of most of your careers. I did not say that proudly. I did not say that to scare you. I said that to make you aware. We are now recording this on April 30th, which kind of good news. You're 1/3 of the way through 2025. I believe right now we are starting to see some of the darkest days in 2025 housing market. We have seen transactions fall off a cliff. I talked to Beth Traverso, Adrian Hernandez, and agents around the country. The spring selling season is simply not here. I talked to Adrian Hernandez, who says he sees some inventory buckets up over 400 days on market. Stuff in the luxury market is not moving. You saw today, Wednesday, mortgage data saying that mortgages for purchase down 4% week on week, refis down 4% week on week. This is all going the direction I told you. Where do we go from here? Well, unfortunately, I believe over the next 3 or 4 months, it's going to be ugly. We are going to see a lot of people give up. We've already seen a lot of people leave the business, both real estate and mortgage. But again, I do want to remind you that 2026 will be better and 2027 will be better. It does get better from here. This is just the darkest time before the light. And I thought I'd have this conversation with my boy, Matt, the mortgage guy. What's going on? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. And I think that it should be one that, people look at as, one, an opportunity, because you're going to have less competition if you're good in real estate, at title, as a mortgage professional. And two, take it kind of as a challenge, right? If this is something that you are passionate about and you want to do it, one, you're going to have to get better to survive. I think we've said that for a few years. And two, you'll truly have to work harder. For less food on your table this year. And so the ones that come around when it's easy and feast off the scraps in 20 and 21, and this goes for everybody, real estate agents, even people that came in and as mobile notaries, they could make $1,000 a day because there was just so much business out there. It's times like this where, you separate the truly excellent from the ones that are just in it to make a quick buck. The ones that truly want to serve from the ones that are just there because there's so much opportunity.
No, I agree with you. I think that's what 2025 is going to be about. And we see this all the time. There's a movie called The Big Short or something like that, where these mortgage brokers were bragging about these arm loans that they were getting people into. They were just there to chase money, right? They sold boats or was a bartender or whatever else they were. They came into the business to make a lot of money. They didn't come into the business because they cared about providing home ownership. They didn't care to educate themselves about, when does a refi make sense or not. They were just order takers, and they were not motivated by their clients. I mean, if you watch that movie, they were motivated by commissions. That's why they were kept slamming people into these horrible products. So the good news is all of those people have A, already left, or B, they're going to be leaving very soon because, again, they don't care about the business. They don't care about the customer. So the people that do work through this fourth and final hard year will be the people that have real passion for the business, really have and understand legacy, know how to get client referrals. They're not motivated by one single commission check. They're motivated by a long-term relationship. So I believe the mortgage business, and very much the real estate business, will be stronger for the culling or the thinning of the herd. And we are going to see the best of the best. And I will once again remind you that the people that can survive till 26 and 27 and 28, you're going to crush. It's going to be like you're at a Vegas buffet and you're the only person there. You're going to have the pick of the litter. I suspect commissions will go up because lenders want to compete for that business. And it's going to be your time in the sun. It is winter and it's really dark and it's really cold. And it will probably get that way more and more the next 3 or 4 months. But then the light sneaks out over the corner and it gets a little better. It gets a little better. And pretty soon you're out in the sun. You're feeling good. You're getting a sunburn. You're out there so much. So again, it's just how this system works.
Yeah. And something that I've noticed too, because I have conversations with real estate agents every single day. And so I feel like I've got a good finger on the pulse, new agents, old agents, all kinds of different business models. One thing that is kind of exciting is when I talk to maybe a broker who has 30 or 40 agents, or I'm talking to somebody who's managing some agents, or just at least has visibility, like their own team of agents, maybe young, hungry, driven agents. Like it's cool to see that good energy kind of taking over to a certain extent. And there's agents that, have operated for decades and decades. And they're either tired or they're not willing to work as hard, but those ones are starting to die off for lack of a better term. And these new agents, and the most exciting part is when I meet somebody who started in October of 2022 and I tell them with absolute certainty, listen, man, if you've done as well as you've done over the last 2.5 years, wait until market conditions put a little wind in your sails. Because right now you're swimming upstream and you're still doing well. You're still progressing, and so if you're newer to the industry and you found a way, as a real estate agent to do 12 transactions per year, or as a mortgage professional, you found a way to do 30 or 40 deals in 23 or 24, I can tell you with absolute certainty, with, some market tailwinds and, lower rates drives demand, lower rates drives refinance. That stuff is going to help. So fast forward yourself to a time where the 30-year fixed is in the mid fives, you're going to have a field day, and all of the things you had to do to make yourself a better professional to get the business today, it's going to serve you. It's going to serve you 5-fold, 10-fold, the future market, the future.
I think that is such an interesting and accurate thing. And I've said this for a long time. If somebody was going to ask me, it's either a mortgage broker or a real estate agent. Michael, would you rather start today, 2025, or would you rather start 2021? And the answer is absolutely, without question, 2025. I want it to be hard. I want to build the systems. I want to build my Rolodex. I want to know what I don't know. I want to invest in myself. Man, if you started in 2021, I suspect you're going to wash out because you got
most of them have. By
exactly.
The way.
It was so easy. You didn't get any discipline. You got no training. You probably watched other people do stupid things. You bought the second, you bought the third car, and then the world changed on you, and you weren't ready for it, and you're out of the game. So again, I would tell somebody to say, hey, should I get in the game? Like, should I get in today? That, whether that's a yes or no, I will tell you, I'd much rather start today than 21.
Right. Yeah. The worst thing that could have happened to some of these people is they thought they were good. You were fooled into thinking you were actually good at your job. And I'm not saying that to be a prick. I'm saying that because it happens to the best of us.
Yes.
We're results oriented sometimes. And it's like,
yes,
closed 265 transactions. I must be the best mortgage broker, since sliced bread, not realizing this is the steroid era. This is the era where everybody's hitting home runs because home runs are easy to hit. And so it'll be interesting to see, those for the most part, Mike. I was telling you before we got online.
Yeah,
I'm seeing people that I know, like, and respect in the mortgage industry, and I see them at networking events, and their name tag has changed. Their title has changed. They're no longer in the mortgage industry. They've gone to something different because unfortunately some it's a strategic decision, but others, they realize, man, this is harder than I thought. And I'm not willing to work as hard as is required to make this a business that can support me in these current times. And so the ones that do, that's the good news for the consumer. That's the good news for anybody involved, is that coming out of this, the ones that are left standing are the best of the best. Yep. They've been battle tested. They've had to put together systems and processes, and they've had to add enough value to survive in times where, there wasn't as many transactions going around.
No, totally agree. Again, I would tell people, again, when I dropped this news on January 1st that I thought 25 was going to be the worst year, I didn't do that. I didn't do that with a smile, right? I realized it was going to be bad news. It was going to hurt a lot of people. But again, I will remind you, you're 4 months through that. It's going to probably get deep and dark and cold another couple of months, and then it will get incrementally better. 2025 is still going to be the worst year, but you will see in the second half green shoots. Now, they're not going to be big, and you're going to have to be paying attention, but it will show you that 26 is going to be better than 25. That much I'm convinced. Matt, if somebody wanted to get started, ask questions, get a file, whatnot, what do they do?
Connect with me and my team, greatmortgagebroker.com. We're licensed in 48 states. We do, all kinds of loans as mortgage brokers with dozens of different lenders, from non-QM to new construction to all the stuff. Generally speaking, I'm working with investors that are buying single families and 2 to 4 unit stuff. And, that's either, conventional or, a DSCR loan, but we also can do plenty of other stuff, bank statement loans and the like. So reach out. If we can help, we're more than happy to, and I'll point you in the right direction. If we can't, I've got plenty of people that I can point you to, and I'll let you know. I'll give you honest advice. You can count on that. greatmortgagebroker.com.
There you go. Thanks, buddy. Take care. Again, 2025 is almost over, buddy.
All right. A third of the way there. Thanks, brother.